I have a great honor to present you our participants, starting from the person who is in front of me, the unique male representative, Dr. Dan Octavian Rusu, professor at the faculty now of psychology, as we established, so it's an update to the agenda. So psychologist and also expert in social sciences. In our roundtable, Dan will share with us experiences connected with the guide about the right of especially mother, incarcerated mother, and the contact with children based on a European perspective with a special focus on Romania, Hungary and Bulgaria, as far as we this in Hungary, which will be a practical side of this connection of inmate female with children. Let me introduce the second speaker to this panel, also great practitioner from Hungary, Orsolya Szathmáry-Király. Probation, oh, I was afraid to read, so thank you. Probation officer from the center here in, from the center, service of probation officer of Borsod-Abuy, Zamplin. And she will discuss with us her practice, so the how to interfere with the children with this unique situation, how to support them even in broader sense, insert them in social contacts, empower children in this very specific situation. And let me introduce Professor Erika Czemáné-Váradi, professor at the university, firstly at the Ferenc Máté Institute, but also the Faculty of Law, the University of Miskolc. If I may say, my dear friend, we have been research for some time, as mostly the topic connected with restorative justice. This is a great specialized about the consensual proposals, whole soft practices in criminal justice. So how to restore mainly perpetrator and include the rights of injured person. So I count on Professor Erika to maybe share with us the experiences of very selected group of children. I mean the injured. So in the situation when they have parents, sometimes who could be perpetrators, so the same rule and very unique situation, whether there is a case to still maintain the family bonds of these children and whether these tools of preserving rights of child, which normally in national legislation could be the reason to exclude the contacts of children and incarcerated parents, whether there is a case of re-victimization of the children. And I have a great honor to present you the next prelegent speaker to our roundtable. If I may say, a great specialized, broadly renowned Professor Judit Strömpl, professor at the University of Tartu, Estonia. Professor is a great researcher on the generally rights of children with a focus. We met at the occasion of exercising right of children to be heard, so be included in procedures, mainly judicial procedures, not only criminal, but with whole foster centers, care, how to give them floor to be heard from the point of view of officials. So I hope that Professor will share with us these outcomes of research. And last but not least, our the youngest fellow, if I may say, we must support her in this round table, a practitioner from Romania, involved in many social programs, connected especially with the recent issue, namely pandemic, the impact of pandemic and the situation of children in relation of justice authority during pandemic period. So let me introduce you to Andreea, lawyer from from the legal office, her own office, if I may say, maybe in future researcher, maybe after our roundtable, a future researcher in this particular and very interesting idea. We don't have much time, and I know that you are probably a bit tired, but I would like to start our discussion because I've been thinking about one leading thoughts, how we could wrap our whole thinking about this unique situation of children. And I think that the main problem, especially seen from my perspective, if I may introduce at the end myself, I'm a professor at the Department of Criminal Procedure at Adam Mickiewicz, Poland, Poznań, Poland. I'm researching the rights of children from the point of view of repressive procedure, juvenile delinquency, so the case when the children are perpetrators of crimes, but also the situation of children in criminal justice, so when they must be introduced to criminal justice as the participants. And this, from this point of view, but I would say that this could be our common stand. The main issue is that the right of children with incarcerated parents are very specific because they are not, from abstract perspective, they could be isolated. I mean, they could be taken from the perspective of the convention, of the ideal situation, what to do to make them ideal world, having contact with parents, being accepted by society, respond their social, economical needs. But in reality, and also in legal reality, they are involved through those procedure at the very, I would say, non-beneficial way, because these are mainly enforcement procedure. And what does it mean? It means that enforcement procedure, it's a procedure with the focus on convict, not on the child. And it means that the child in this sort of procedure is perceived. It could be maybe controversial, but I think that this is true. The child is rather somehow a tool to heal a parent with those criminal background. So the focus is not on child, but on a process of restoration, bringing a perpetrator to society. And obviously we could discuss many general problems. As a highlight, I would like to add just two of them. Firstly, what are the legal phases of the situation of children with incarcerated parents? The first issue seems to be core. It is the authority, parental authority during the time of incarceration. From the legal stance, this is not automatical impact. We cannot speak about automatic impact of incarceration and somehow suspension of parental authority. So it means that it must be resolved case by case, whether these are the case that parent cannot exerce authority, parental authority. And the second part is whether criminal law must take into consideration the situation of familiar situation of defendant in criminal justice. I mean, whether the fact that someone has children impact the sentence, the sanction imposed in the verdict, in the ruling. And in both phases, we could see that there is not clear answer. So maybe starting with this point that firstly, we must case by case clarify the situation of a child. And let me start discussion finally by asking you the first question. And the first question will be around very general also context. I mean, whether the group of children with incarcerated parents must be recognized, and whether, as I asked you to think about it before, whether this group could be seen as uniform, especially so why do children with of incarcerated parents need recognition as a group? Shall the children be perceived as uniform group? And what kind of challenging circumstances they must face? Of course, if someone would like to need some legal background to this general highlights, please do it. So could we start as we presented? Dan, please, take your floor.
Hello, everybody. This issue is very complicated because we're talking about children who they are considered as collateral damage in this process, and almost they are the hidden people of the justice or the family, because everybody is focused on the incarcerated parent, not on the child or children. The problem is complicated when discuss about how we recognize this special group as a vulnerable or sensitive group. In the first step, mothers or fathers or parents in generally avoid to tell the children they are in a jail. That means in Romania, most than half of imprisoned people, they children don't know their own parents are in jail. This is a considerable number, yes. In Romania, women are almost 1,000 in jail, in prison. As a number of children, I don't know now the statistics, but the last time the children who has parents in jail, it's mostly 300 children. That's a significant and incredible number, because when we started, we have research in this area. It was difficult to choose which alternative is better, to go in the school and ask the teacher to send us the vulnerable children who has parents in prison. This was impossible. And the second alternative is to ask the parents to show where is the children in school. This was another very difficult issue, because many of children are not going in the school because they are from vulnerable parents, also from Roma parents specifically, and when we try to contact them, many of them refuse. So the research finally started, but we have very hard issues to convince the children to remain in the group, in the support group. How we convince them with material and financial resources. We pay to come in the group. We pay also to go in the jail to meet their parents. Also, we organized for this meeting inside of the jail, these meetings between children and parents. And finally, as some criteria we put in the research was not the material resource which was involved in this project. The vulnerability and fragility, psychological fragility of these children. They come from a very sensitive and fragile area. That means material resources, that means educational level, that means unemployment, that means lack of hygiene and proper home. And I want to point some psychological issue what was identified in this assessment. We tried to make a psychological assessment for these children, not just social assessment. Most of them are out of the school. They drop out from the school. After the incarceration of one parent, not important the father or the mother, they are vulnerable for antisocial behavior. Statistically, many research try to prove the link between incarcerated parents and social antisocial behavior, but many of them not really prove that this exists. Yes, because many of factors influence, they are not the first factor who determine the child to be involved in antisocial behavior. But the lack of father figure, also the mother figure, stimulated the child to be most depressed, to became PTSD client for the psychologist. Many of PTSD remarked on these children are the lack of mother's or father figure, the mood how their parents was arrested. Sometimes the child come home and just see his mother or his father just disappear. That's
disturb maybe the social balance.
Yes, also this social balance, the emotional balance, and incredible the report between child and authority. That means teacher figure, and in generally the authority has by compromise if the child don't understand why his parents are there and their parents are in the prison. If this explication missed, or it's a lack in explication why your parents is in jail, the child develop and feel revolt and anger toward the authorities.
Okay, thank you. As follow the current research, one must say that the situation that the children not aware about where the parents are also could be observed from the point of view of parents, as the research based on especially mothers, incarcerated mothers, show that they are not willing to meet the children in prisons conditions, the facility for families. They prefer the contacts, online meetings or phone calls, to prevent the children from this not very child-friendly circumstances. So thank you, Dan. And if we could switch, as we agreed that everyone will have the floor now, and then we try to interact. So if I may ask you, Orsolya, but you must not explore all your time, just if you would like to add some comments about this group of children, that they must be or shall be recognized. And if you maybe could add some comment about whether this group group should be divided, because this is maybe not directly settled in national systems, but for example, based on the Polish example, we can divide the group of children in certain smaller group, the children up to the 3 years old, then up to the 15. So maybe you could give us some highlights from practice. What would be your suggestion how to divide this group of minors?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big burden on me to give suggestions, so I don't have any. But yes, I would like to talk about my clients. I'm a probation officer. I work as a probation officer from 2006. I work at the Borsod-Abaúj-Zemplén County Government Offices, Chief Department of Public Authorities, Department of Probation and Justice. I have to tell it. So, and I work with juvenile offenders above 12. So please keep in mind that when I talk about children with incarcerated parents, I will mostly talk about my practical experiences, and I will talk about children above 12. Because this is the age that I work with, I encounter with. So first of all, I would like to quote you a sentence that I've read among the pictures, the drawings in the hall, and I think it can give a good frame to our roundtable. I think it's a quote from a child, and it says that we need home, play and bread, and father and mother. And I think that it covers everything that we are talking about. And I would like to quote Dr. Jozef Miklosko from Slovakia. Yesterday in your presentation, you said that the biggest fear of a child, of children, that they could be separated from their parents, and they need safety in their relationship. And I think, and I can see it during my work, that yes, that they need this safety, and this is the most important thing in their lives, to get this safety and to get attention, because many of my clients experience parental incarceration, and many these children with incarcerated parents are more likely to become offenders. And I have a theory, or what I see in practice, it's because that these children with incarcerated parents don't get enough attention. They try to demand attention, and because of it, they tend to inhibit externalizing behavior, like destroying things or physical aggression against their peers. And it can be a crime, because in Hungary, physical aggression, and I think in many other countries, it's a crime. Or destroying things, it's a rowdyism, as we say it in the law. So it's a crime also. So they are more likely to become offenders, and then they come to me as a probation officer. What I see that. They don't form a uniform group, because children vary in their needs, and the children vary in their needs. And sometimes, it's interesting, but sometimes parental incarceration can be a relief for the child, because there are abusive parents or substance abuse parents, so sometimes it can be a relief. It's not only a bad thing. Most of the times it's a bad thing, but not always. I have to see my notes, because I tend to talk too much about this topic, and I don't want to talk too much. Yes, there are many factors that influence how this affects children and how they process it. It depends on which parent is incarcerated, as you say, it's the mother or the father, the figure of authority in the family.
Yes, it is
mainly the father. Yes, it's as Dan mentioned before, or what the child-parent relationship was like before the incarceration. As I say, it can be a relief. Depends on the supportive environment around the family. It's very, very important that have the family have this supportive environment or not. And how the parent who stays with the child, the remaining parent, how he or she can cope with this situation. Because, you know, children always get the example. Children who experience disadvantages before the parental incarceration find it easier to cope with this situation, because it's hard to say, but they are used to difficult circumstances and hardship and deprivation. And those who have not experienced these things, that deprivation or that difficult circumstances, are more shocked by this new situation. And there's one thing I would like to highlight, which I experience in Hungary. It's the issue of caring responsibilities. Because after the incarceration of a parent, a number of adolescents taking on caring roles that they are not ready for. I mean, they feel responsible for caring their siblings or the remaining parent. Their families already live in difficult circumstances, already have low incomes, and this only makes, the parental incarceration only makes their life more difficult. It reduces the joint income, and obviously the parent in prison or jail can't earn a substantial income for the family. And at the same time, they accumulate fines and fees and legal debts. So the burden of providing the family's income falls on the eldest son, mainly on the eldest son, because there's a cultural tradition, yes, that the head of the family is the eldest man in the family, always. And they think they have to become the breadwinner, but they are under 18. They are adolescents, they are juveniles.
For this stuff.
Yes,
Okay.
and because of this, they drop school, they go to work, but they can't work legally because they are under the age limit. So this is a problem, and of course it's a very, very rapid and very early transition from childhood to adulthood. And
so you think, as maybe thinking about somehow a remedy of the situation for children with incarcerated power could be empower the remains, the family that is not in prison, to maybe enhance their capacity. Okay, so please give the floor to Professor Erika.
Thank you.
Finally, you.
Okay, so we work together in same cities. We give answers together too, but of course
you share the time for answers
yes,
as well.
From different point of view, and I think so too that we cannot speak about the uniform group in connection with these IP children, and of course it's very important to focus on these children, but very sensitive way, of course, and if they will or would like this, because it's very important that Orsolya spoke about a lot of circumstances, which is important in connection with this situation. And of course, there are other, for example, the stigmatization effects of this situation. But this prison lives or the crime committing isn't a problem or a crisis for every family. But I think so that there are another fact that is more important, and this is the lack of the figure of father or of mother, but in Hungary the most part of perpetrators or offenders men, so this is typically the father, and I think so this is the losing or the loss of a father is really important, and okay, one time or one point of view, if they have a very good relationship between the father and the children, but without the perfect relationship too. Because we have very interesting researches in Hungary about the typical life history of the typical Hungarian young offender, which or who committed violent crimes, and it means that one of these four life story or history is the case when the father fate or the luck from the family, and it is a risk factor to young sons or boys to becoming offender, or they have or commit antisocial behavior, for example. And
this is called, if I can mention, this is called hidden reoffending. It means that this is not the perpetrator who is reoffending, but the child who is reoffending, so on behalf of the previous behavior.
But it was very interesting, another research in Hungary, and it means, or the result show us that maybe this, the lack of the father, or or the losing of parents is or could be a connection point and a common feature with the children whose parents or father, typically father, worked abroad, and they could stay together only very short time in every year, 2, 3, 4 days, and it's very interesting that this psychological and emotional effects is more important and similar in this group and in other group too. So it's really interesting.
So thank you. I think that generally in the second round we could speak about the issue of gender. I mean the gender of mother and father, and also the children, because mainly we focus on situation of mother when it is a woman in prison. There is a system who protect the women, so second round will be about these issues, so good focus. And now, Professor,
yes.
Please, your floor, Judit.
Yes, I wait a long time, and sometimes I would like to tell anything already, but here are so many different topics already. But I wanted to go back to your first question. Is it a universal group? Yes, because all the children of IP parents are vulnerable, and they all have a very typical picture. So they are all very, very invisible, voiceless, and they all need support, state support, and also the society's support. And when we want to help them, so I think it's the most important thing that we have to see them as experts by experiences. So they are the people who know what they need, actually. But
Give them the floor.
Yes, we have to give them the floor, and therefore, for me, it is very important why we actually have no idea how many of them are. For example, yes, for example, in Estonia, we have only just, very, very
But it's
about.
a very small
Yes,
country as
yes,
well, and everything
yes.
is very easy to measure in Estonia. So this is a very good, always example for comparison.
Yes. But I also agree with you, who told already that this is not a homogeneous group, because, and very important, I think the most important topic is the relations between the child and the parents. Because a child could be a victim of parents, and I have a lot of examples when the child is, and I would like to speak about the trauma experience. Today nobody told, for example, yes, the trauma, the traumatic relations also. This is what we have to focus on mostly. But yes, there are differences in age, in gender, because a small child...
Children, for example, they have sometimes different needs and different dangers after having one parent in prison.
Yes, but I would be very, very careful when we speak about juvenile justice or about young people who offenders and their connection with their parents, because I think mostly it is even more important the trauma experience, not that the
and
father
in our
is,
father question, we include this as adverse childhood experiences as something which mustn't be connected with incarceration of parents, with the list of questions to be prepared. Just one floor for our little one participant, and please, and then done.
I can give him the floor if he wants to speak. I think it's a very interesting aspect if you can discuss that these children with incarcerated parents need to be recognized as an individual vulnerable group. And I think it's a very good perspective from the Romanian view that from 2023 we recognize them as an individual vulnerable group. In this year it entered into force a new law that prevents the separation of the children from the family. And this law says that the state institutions have to focus on these children as another vulnerable group. Until now, we didn't recognize them; they were solely invisible. Yes, it is the same. It was the same problem. We hope that from now they will be recognized and they will get the proper care from this aspect, because this law says again that it will be introduced the National Child Observer. It's a national database where we can take and we can introduce every child that is in a vulnerable group, except as we speak about the incarcerated parents as well. And this is a good news because until 2022 we didn't really have statistics about them. We didn't know, as the professor said, we didn't know how many are they. I consulted the jurisprudence as a practitioner. That is where the first forum where I inform myself, and I saw that. For me, it was impressive that there is very few judgments about these kids. They were included in the group of children permanently or temporarily left outside of parental authority, but we don't have judgments about this. And then I asked the question: where are they? Who is the institution who focuses on them? Because if in Romania the judge is the one who can take decisions about parental authority, and if there is no decision about the parental authority, who is the one who cares about these kids?
But suspension of parental authority, did you check this based on Romanian jurisprudence?
There is the institution of suspension of parental authority didn't exist as an individual institution in Romania. The law says that in the situation when a child is permanently or temporarily derived of the parental authority, the director of the social protection is the one who exercises these obligations or these rights, and this is, I think, from the perspective of the child rights, is not correct, because what does a director know about the needs of that child? So, from this perspective, I think we have a huge problem. I hope that from this year, and if we have this new law, we can change this perspective.
But it's all over the world the same, that even if we have the rights of those children, they are not taken, they are not governed, they are divided in many legal acts. So at the end, they are invisible in the sense that you cannot count it in the terms of statistics, you cannot count it in the terms of true recognition based on law. And with this, I will give you the floor to the reply because you wanted then, but please try to follow with the next question about the conventional rights of children. The last one issue which I mentioned, because I think this could be something that we must add to our previous thoughts. And so you can choose to maybe address the issue as the time is running. So address the conventional rights of child, especially the right to be heard once again. And maybe let's talk about those symptoms of children and the trauma situation. Maybe you could, as a psychologist, tell us more about the trauma and how you would like to, how you shall present maybe the types of trauma based on this specific group.
The main core of trauma is the PTSD, post-stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. Also, we identified depression as psychological symptoms. Also, they are decrease the academic achievement.
But speaking, you mean trauma in terms of medical terms. But trauma could be also observed from different angles. The trauma could be trauma that is directly linked with incarceration, but could be linked also with the previous situation of the family. Would you have would you have to share with us some comments about those type of trauma connected with different grounds?
Depends of stage of development. If they are the children between 0 and 2 years ages, there are some specifically trauma between 2 and 6 years, another specific trauma in between 6 and 12, and after the 12 years they are also specific trauma.
So maybe this could be also some kind of...
And also the gender, they are boy or girl.
Okay, so based of those trauma, because I'm trying to lead us to this focus whether we could make how typization of those children. So what do you think? This could be maybe indicator, the formula of trauma as referring to the groups of children? Because, to respond their needs, we must denominate them correctly, the children. If we will treat them as a whole group, it is correct to start as a starting point.
Yeah.
But then to address their need, we must to divide them in the sense that we must try to address the particular need.
Yes, it's right. The first step, good assessment, divide the children who needs in crisis intervention. If they are in crisis, they are not put in the group to give a support group. They need individual support, psychological or psychiatric intervention. If their trauma is not so bad and these children are not in the crisis, individual intervention, and after that group therapy or group support, it's enough in our conception.
Maybe
May I just tell something? Because yes, this PTS, it is one, but there are relational trauma. So which is not something happened with the child, but it is a relation when the child have nobody who care about him or her. This is even and his or her safety is not secured. Yes, this is another, and this could be and could not be, because we have a very good example in Estonia when a boy who was born in prison and he lived with his mother, and then now he is already died because he was an old man, but he was a very impressive politician of Estonia, Edgar Savisaar, who wrote a book about his life story. So there are different kinds of traumas, and not trauma, because this child was with his mother, and he could develop a personality, you know? So it is not so easy to typize.
That's the same. I would like to say, it's funny because I'm my main degree is in sociology, and I don't like typicalization. I can join to my colleagues that I think the most important thing is to ask the child what they need.
It's from the practical point
yes,
of view.
it's from
but
the, of course.
Theory,
and of course, I said I work children above 12, but we have to ask them what they need. I, as a probation officer, I don't want to decide for them.
Yeah, but
that
also
what they need.
You must have the tools, and to
yes,
have tools.
And most of the time the tools are only just sitting and listening, because these child need attention, as I said in the beginning. So it's my tools is just sitting and listening and let them talk.
Okay, done.
I come back to
because you are the unique man, you know, and this is a result.
I come back to the point of trauma. So when I explain why some people develop PTSD, it's depend circumstances when happened arrested from the parents. If the child is a witness when the police come in force in the midnight and drop the door and everything with the black uniform, the child developed this PTSD. Oh, and the second, it's your remark, sometimes the people have this negative impression, PTSD generated just negative results. Sometimes PTSD generated a positive effect, and this name is post-traumatic increase. It's happened very rarely, but it's happened. Thank you.
Okay, so I was told that we have only 5 minutes to finish and conclude, but I wanted to address at least one more issue, as we promised, to speak about the sexuality of people who are in prison. I mean, whether they are men, women, girls, and boys. So what are your observations, maybe just generally, whether the law address those needs and whether there are challenges to overcome still? So maybe we can start. Judit, have you some observation?
No, I just was thinking that we have absolutely very, very few women actually in our prisons. Yes, we have a great new head of the prisons, you know, the chancellor. and the policy is went to their institutionalization, so alternative punishments, so criminal restorative justice. And of course it is very good you told the restorative justice, because I think the restorative justice is absolutely very important when we think about those children, because those children live with their trauma. They have no information, yes, what happened, why, what will be. And many of them have very big anger. They are angry with their parents. I have my personal people whom I know, who is a young woman who got know that she was adopted when she was a child, and she was already 28 when she got know, yes, discovered that both of her parents are all the life sit in the prison. Okay. And it was very, very big shock for her. And now I think it is not, the solution is restorative justice. She has to
the process of healing.
Yes, yes, because as long as this anger is in her heart, she cannot leave, you know. Okay. And she is only one example.
Dear public, unfortunately, I was told twice that we must conclude our panel. Unfortunately, I must confess that we did not achieve our goal because we had 9 questions to address, but we did not. So let's believe that it will be our written contribution that address all those issues. So thank you for your kind attention, for being so patient with us. Thank you.